Hi, so welcome once again to the gold chair room, my den here in my home. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I had a new subscriber and a couple of new subscribers, and so I thought, well, it's time. And so I thought that I'd speak to you about something I've been watching. I've been watching a lot of anime over the last, I guess, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, just kind of doing something a little bit different than most of my generation would do. And I've avoided things that my kids used to watch, like Bleach and Inuyasha and things like that, right? But I've been watching a lot of One Piece. We're already I think over 500 now, and we just reached 500 in 100 in Black Clover. And Black Clover is interesting in a lot of ways, because you have Demon Slayer, which is kind of currently ongoing, an absolutely excellent anime, and Demon Slayer borrows a lot from Black Clover, and Black Clover copies a lot from One Piece, but there's a thread that I think is important for the role play. Something that we probably don't really think about. Maybe you do because you are well versed in anime. For my generation, who isn't, and who, let's face it, are mostly culturally myopic, only looking at kind of the D&D type world and that world view of, say, Faerun. What anime opens up is a different cultural perspective. When I think of rivals, I think of somebody that is my enemy. I think of a rival, somebody who is the bad guy in the role-playing game. So, an NPC. Sometimes my rival is somebody around the table, some ass that is driving me nuts, and I just want to role-play better and get better dice rolls, and I just want to win D&D or win the role-playing game. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but it's one of those things where you kind of look at the person as they're just a rival. They're driving me nuts. Black Clover has given me a very different perspective of rival. You have Asta and you have Uno, and both of them have, they do not come from a wealthy background. They are orphans, at least so far. That's what I've got from it. If we reveal later on what they are, don't tell me in the comments, please. But so there's this rivalry that is central to almost every episode. And it's not just between those two. Other characters get introduced and say, I want to be your rival. In the context of Black Clover, a rival is someone who pushes you to become a better person, to become the best you can be. A rival is not the enemy. A rival is someone who is not against you, but is actually for you, pushing you. And I'm wondering to myself, how can we employ rivalry around the table or on the screens in your D&D or role-playing game sessions? And how can you become a rival for, not against, but for someone else at the table, pushing them to be the best character they can be. I think there's a mindset currently happening within the role-playing game genre where online games and online play, and certainly Hasbro seems to have this mentality that Wizards of the Coast needs to move the platform into some type of online competitive type of game. Obviously, you know, you should know by now that my thoughts are very clear, that it just goes against the fundamentals of the game. The fundamentals of the game is you sit around and you have fun and you enter into a world in order to play out a fantasy world of some sort, no matter if it's future, past, you know, whatever the genre is within the role-playing world. It's not supposed to be competitive at all, and there isn't supposed to be a winner, and there certainly isn't supposed to be a loser. Rivalry in Black Clover provides Uno the opportunity to push Asta to be his best, and Asta to push Uno to be his best. And other characters within the show are constantly pushing each other. You know, there's one character, Luck, who is saying constantly, do you want to fight? Do you want to spar? Because, well, not only is he a goofy type of character, but he wants to push himself. There's a character who ends up losing a competition, goes out into the wilderness, as it were, and is honing their skills to be the best that they can be because they've lost. And so instead of moping or bitching or blaming someone else for their loss, I can't think of anybody politically who does that, and they're pushing themselves to be a better person, a better competitor. And I think that is something that we should all take around the table, and also that the GM should be employing as kind of a mechanism to get us to think beyond, so that the NPCs provide rivalries to push the player, again, to be the best character, but also the best player. The GM's job is not the enemy. And I worry that in some cases, the industry as a whole, not just at the 5th edition or 5.5 or whatever, no, not just Wizards of the Coast, but that the industry is pushing us to be more competitive and to try to win the day and not be the best we can be. And so rivalry in this context gives us an opportunity to accentuate the best out of the people that we're enjoying the game with around the table. To be a rival is to be a cheerleader, to be an encourager. And this is something that we can even take into our own lives and live it out. To push people, not to push them to berate them, but to push them to be the best that they can be, not to put them down or to criticize. The critical nature of rivalry within this particular show is playful and not destructive. And when Yami, who is kind of a clan leader, as it were, is pushing his guild, he does so in kind of a fun, brutal way, to in a very sarcastic way, to get them to stop being so lazy-assed but to really engage. And sometimes we can be lazy-assed around the table. Sometimes we can be lazy-assed in our own lives. For the solo player, I think that rivalry should be built into your conception as you're rolling on the action theme tables or whatever tables you find yourself looking to push your envelope. And I firmly believe that when you're playing solo, that you shouldn't be constantly referring to tables, that you do need to be a storyteller of sorts. And the randomness is a great generative, but you want to build into the game tension, but tension that pushes you, and a tension of creating an NPC rival that is not against you, but is bringing you to be better, I think is wonderful. I've been looking a lot at the One Ring, and I'm really intrigued, and I'm really happy in a lot of ways with the direction that it's gone. I'm not familiar with the first edition at all. And I played MERP way back in the day when it first came out in the 80s. So I love the world, and I think that the system can translate to things like 1,000,000 Islands, which I've been speaking about previously in other videos. So think to yourself, how can you build in rivalry, a rivalry that is a cheerleader, a rivalry that is not the typical Western mentality of a enemy. Think about it in terms of an Eastern culture where merit is an important aspect of pushing oneself. I think that that's a very important concept, that we, the Western entitled people, feel that we deserve a +1 on this roll, or a I want to have the benefits, every last benefit, the advantages of rolling 2d20 because I deserve it, and we fight to deserve, to argue to deserve it, instead of showing proof as to why, showing it at the table instead of just arguing for it. And I think that being better characters means that we're going to be better players. And if the GM or the soloist provide the opportunities, I think that that's going to be a better gaming experience, and one that diminishes this mentality of winners and losers. I won the night because I had the better roll, or I won the night because I argued against the GM better than anyone else at the table, or we spent 45 minutes with the person that wanted to hog the time. We see this all the time on online games, that there's usually at least one person who's fighting for more airtime, possibly to get more clicks and more viewers on their channel. This happens all the time, sadly. Anyway, that's my spiel, and that's my thoughts. I've reached a little milestone. I have 300 subscribers, which absolutely does not compute to views. I'm not. I saw it, and I'd be lying if I didn't notice it, if I told you that I didn't notice it. So I'm very happy for that. There is no way in the world that I'm going to appeal to a broad audience, but I'm happy that you're watching, and I'm happy that you've spent this time watching, because I do, like you, I'm watching other people constantly to be a better player, to think beyond just the mundane, and to try to find new ideas and go beyond the regular spiel of I'm selling you this or click and subscribe and all that stuff. I don't care if you comment, and I watch a lot of videos that I don't click thumbs up on, and so that's fine. If you really like something, like when I really like something, I click the like button because I know that people like you and I, when we click on something, we know that on our home screen we're going to get more of the same type of people, the same type of kind of role-playing options, and be introduced to new people and people that we've never discovered before. And maybe that's how you came here. I'm sure that it is, because frankly, I don't advertise at all. So enjoy your game, have fun, thank you for spending this time, and I'll see you the next time I feel encouraged to do something. Bye.